return on investment that these people have perceived, or?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not, I don't have the institutional knowledge, right? And I don't know if it's just about ROI, right? But we're talking about, are we investing in the most, childhood cancer is rare, right?
So
Thank
yeah,
God. So what happens is that when something's rare, that's not necessarily where the focus is, because you're trying to tackle problems in general, right? I don't mean just in medicine, but in general, on helping as many people as possible. So I think that it's not necessarily just about ROI, but like, are we maximizing our resources? And I think that's where you find the lack of
Okay.
funding.
Well, before we keep going into that, I want to talk more about you. So how did you get to be?
No.
No, for
Are
sure.
you sure?
How did you get to be the CEO of Live Like Bella? Like, what did you do before?
Some people will say, and if you talk to Bella's father, Raymond Rodriguez Torres, who's the chairman of the board, and Shauna, his wife, who's also our coach or vice chair, sometimes Bella just taps you on the shoulder, because I didn't have a background in this. My degree, I went to FIU just like you.
Okay, yeah.
I have a degree in public relations from the School of Journalism, and I worked in television my whole career. I worked for MTV, I worked for Sony Pictures. My background was always in international sales and marketing, and I loved it. And I, I think, and you'll find this because you're young, right? I sound like a mom now when I say, tú estás de lo más joven. It came a chapter in my life, and I don't know, I literally almost woke up one morning and I said, I think I want to do more, make an impact. And I think that your career, at different chapters of your career, different things motivate you. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's growth, sometimes it's legacy. And I had reached a point that I said, I really want to do something that has impact in our community. And I had, my brother-in-law at the time was battling with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, which is a terrible neurodegenerative disease. And we did a lot of nonprofit work to help them. And I said, man, it might be cool to switch career gears.
To go into
that. Because I had always done it on a volunteer basis. I had volunteered with a Make-A-Wish Foundation of South Florida for 13 years. I had always done things to help in the community, but I had never really thought about making it part of my career.
Like what you did on a day-to-day.
I don't know, man. I think the answer to your question is Bella tapped me on the shoulder, because I fell in love with this work. And I think one of the most impactful quotes I've ever heard, and it's been attributed to many different people, is justice has not been served until those who have not been affected are as outraged as those who have.
Understood.
And I thank God as a mother, as a parent, I have 2 healthy children. But when somebody asks me, how did you get into this work? First question is like, did you lose a child to cancer? Did you have a sister with cancer or something? And the first time somebody asked me that question, when I had started working with it, like Bella, I was sitting at an airport, and the guy sitting next to me was just making small talk at the gate. And he said, oh, what do you do? I said, oh, I work for a childhood cancer foundation in Miami. And he said, did you lose a child to cancer? And I said, no. But we left the gate, I got on the plane, I was putting my bag in the overhead bin, and I sat down, I'm like, the next time somebody asks me that question, my answer is going to be yes. I lost a child to cancer, and so did you. All of us have lost a child to cancer. It's a loss for all of us. Exactly. So just because I didn't, I was not Bella's mother,
doesn't mean that you weren't affected.
Doesn't mean that we were not all affected by the loss of this child, and who the foundation is named after, and the children before and after her to follow.
It's a lot of times the things that you don't see. So for example, I feel like because it's not per se, like we don't feel the personal connection to it, that people just kind of turn a blind eye to it, that's...
Well, we all have some kind of responsibility, right? I think that, some sense of purpose. We're all, I think, to those who much is given, much is expected.
Right.
And I am very grateful to have, many blessings in my life. And I think that we all have, you wake up every day, you have to go to work, do whatever. Everybody has their own routine. But I think at some point in time, you have to say, what can we do to serve others? And whatever that may be, in the capacity that I'm sitting as CEO in the foundation. Obviously, my priorities is pediatric cancer, but for some people, it's helping the environment. For some people, it's helping animals. For whatever it is, but finding your passion to serve others. I think we all are called to do that in either talent, in time, or in treasure. We've talked about that before.
Mr. Mrs. 21-year-old looking right now. Listen to Nicole, okay?
What am I saying? I sound like a mom, right?
No,
Nadir,
but for real, because...
just for the record, I'm not old enough to be Nadir's mom. I want to make sure that we make that clear. No, and I say that, and I've said it time and time again, and please think about this, but it's so important to find a way to give back in talent, in time, or in treasure. Because some people are like, look, I don't have any money, I can't write you a check. Perfect, do you have time to volunteer? No, look, I don't really have the time, but look, I'm an artist, so that's my talent, and maybe I'll do a drawing and you can auction it. All of us in some capacity, we can do something.
Right.
So...
Do you think that your experience before Live Like Bella has helped you, in your position now?
Yeah, I mean, from an operations standpoint, I mean, I've had the opportunity to work with teams from all over the world. Being bilingual is super important. I think that's a
Right.
good shout
Yeah, I
out
can
in
imagine
Miami
that
to say that,
definitely
because
helps out. Yeah.
especially, you know, you speak Spanish. And
Yeah, claro que sí.
Sí, claro que sí. I've got 2 kids, right, and only one of them speaks Spanish. The little one only knows how to say like despacito
But do you
and
speak? But do you
croqueta.
speak Spanish at the house though?
I do, but not enough.
See, I think
Not
that's where
enough.
like it happens. Like
Dude,
me,
you
I
can't
probably
lose
wouldn't do
that.
that.
You can't
You
lose
can't
that.
lose that.
Because,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So anyway, how did my experience prepare me from before? I mean, I think, you know, my degree, I happen to have had, my background is in public relations, but I did spend some time working for the state of Florida. I was press secretary at the House of Representatives.
Okay.
I was communications director at the Department of State. And so I had a mixed background, having worked in television, in government relations, and then sort of my transition before
Right.
Live Like Bella, I worked for Baptist Health at the foundation. So when I sat down with Raymond, Bella's father, to talk about what was next for Live Like Bella, you know, at this point it was little over 3 years and change. And he said, you know, it's this, this, and this. And, you know, it was a long list of incredible things. I said, you guys have grown so much. What are you going to do? And he's like, you know what, we really need to take the time to invest back in ourselves as a foundation in order to continue to grow, because they're volunteers.
Right, exactly.
Live Like Bella.
Volunteers
you know,
are inconsistent
Well, but it's not just that,
unreliable.
but even our board of directors, nobody on our board gets paid.
Yeah.
Bella's parents don't get paid. In
It's all
fact,
pro
Bella's
bono.
parents make donations to the foundation every month.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
yeah.
like, it's not just about that, but to have a team there put together and say, you know what, this is a team that's going to be committed to taking this to the next level. You know, Live Like Bella just got to that point, and I had the blessing and
Yeah.
the privilege of being in the right place at the right time.